It's going to be a trade recap on how I lost $1,799 day trading the NASDAQ this morning. This was the trade that I took, that I lost, and yeah, let's go over it. I don't mind this trade at all. I think it was still a pretty good play, but it didn't end up working out. So let's go over it. So coming into the day, I actually had a bearish bias. If we drag this over, I actually had a bearish bias because we disrespected this daily gap. This will load. Okay, see, we disrespected this daily gap here. We then were delivering out of this 4-hour, and then we also had LRL down here leading up to this 4-hour gap. So I was, and then we had data lows right here from CPI news data. So I was bearish coming into the day. Only thing that was questioning me from being bearish is that ES came very close to his new week opening gap here. But honestly, I wasn't too worried about that. I was still bearish coming into the day. So if we come over to market open here, we can see that we have a 15-minute gap that we just filled, a bullish gap, but I'm still bearish. I don't expect this to hold. This is technically a 15-minute rejection wick here that we're tapping into and rejecting. So, but if we play price out at market open, we can see we end up dumping down a little bit, and then we kind of just chop around here. Now at this point, I was like, okay, we came pretty close to these data lows. We are getting a retrace now. We don't have a 5-minute gap to retrace into, but we have this 5-minute change in state delivery right here, and we can use this, the revisit of this change in state, as kind of our key level here. So I saw this, I'm like, okay, we got a 5-minute change in state delivery. We revisited this level. We also are filling a 3-minute gap and a 4-minute gap along with equilibrium of the range, as I have marked out in here. So this was kind of my key level. Obviously, it's not like a 5-minute gap or anything like that, but this 5-minute change in state out of this 4-hour gap, along with the 3-minute and the 4-minute and the equilibrium, was all looking nice to me. So I'm like, okay, nice, that looks good for our retrace. Now simply I wait for the inversion. We get a 2-minute close right there with a good close, and then targeting these data lows, going break even, and then ended up getting stopped out instantly. And then we just chopped around, and price action was pretty not good for the rest of the day. We never even ended up getting these 4-hour gap. We do have like this 5-minute BPR here that held us up, because I did think we were gonna get this. So price action is kind of in this weird range right now, in between here and here. And if we actually look over on the 15-minute up here, I actually am learning this, or implementing a lot of this to my trading, is these BPRs. So we have this 15-minute BPR right here. If we delete this, and then we have this 5-minute BPR down here, and BPRs are like the strongest PD array, or one of. Basically what a BPR is, it's like a bearish for value gap and a bullish for value gap, like overlining. So you can see here we have this bearish gap here, and then this bullish gap here. They kind of are like in line with each other, so that's a BPR. And then on the 15-minute time frame, we have that as well here. Right here we have this bearish gap and this bullish gap that are in line with each other. So we're kind of in this little range here. Price will probably be kind of weird until we break out of this range. And let's see if it has. Yeah, I don't think it has. Yeah, so it's still like in this weird range in between these two PD arrays. But this was my trade. There was a 1-minute short here as well. After this, like right here, that ended up being stop loss. That was a bad trade. I actually did take down some evals, but I took a lot of trades in evals today. But yeah, oops. This was the only valid trade in my opinion today. Only funded trade. Only trade I would ever take on a funded. Except for maybe this trade right here. No, I'm lying. Well, we have like this SMT here, and then we get like this 1-minute inversion, but closes way down here, so it's not valid. But it kind of is valid because we still have the data lows intact. So this one's a little questionable. I actually did take this on eval and hit this trade. So this one's a little questionable. Like this could have been taken, and if you took this, I don't think this is the worst trade in the world, because we have this SMT right here, and then we get this 1-minute inversion with our obvious draws down here with all this LR leading up to this data lows. So this was a pretty good play too. You could have taken, but I don't know if I would have taken that on a funded, or I didn't obviously, but I don't know if that was. Actually, this was a good play. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe not, because this SMT was kind of mid. Let's see. SMT with this high, yeah, but Yeah, but actually is a 5-minute intermediate high out of a 4-hour gap. So this, yeah, this was a pretty good play right here. If you took this play, I think this was a pretty good play. Right here, then you could say like it's invalid because we hit the internal low already. But when we have like all this LR right here, right, I expect all this LR to get ran down to this data low. So even though we hit that internal low, we still have more LR here that's supposed to get ran, and then all the way down to this data low. So this would have been a pretty good play here too. I faded it, or I took on some evals, but I didn't take it on funded. I just didn't like this chop, right? I didn't like all this, and then I don't really want to take a trade within that. But that was a pretty good play. But this play was still very valid in my opinion. The only reason this play would not be valid is because of this chop. But once you get good displacement down the LR, it's pretty obvious. But this was a good play, I still think. This, because if you actually bring this back, obviously it looks super choppy now. But if we bring this back, we can see that like this looks very clean, right? Like we get the move down, retraced, inversion, back down to here, right? It looks very clean. No, price action was not horrible at this point. And then obviously it ends up being horrible for the next, however long. But yeah, so that was the only play I took today. Still a good play. Happy with the loss. So yeah.